Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sierra, and today we are going to be making a jellyfish. I did make one, but I want to make one on camera. I just wanted to see if it would work, and I have never seen anybody do this before. I'm sure it's been done. I have never seen it, so I'm going to walk you through really quick of what you're going to need in order to make this. You're for sure you're going to need something with a little dome or anything like that, like a bowl or anything. I got this from the dollar store. It's just a little plastic little thing. This is going to be the shape, the dome part of the jellyfish. I'm just going to move everything to the side as I name it, just to clean off the desk. I am using some of this, I guess you could call it, it's like fishing wire, fishing line. I'll show you what I do have. I have some of this thread. It's super thin. It's probably not even going to be picked up on camera. This is called, it's invisible. It's, I don't even know what size it is. But anyway, this is too thin. This wouldn't work. I mean, you could try, but I wouldn't have any success with something this thin. What I do have is this. It's thicker. You can actually see it. So yeah, so I will be using this. I'm going to try and walk you through the best way I can on how to do this. It turns out absolutely beautiful. To make this, you're going to need a glue gun. I'm using my bigger glue gun. I have a precision one. But I'm going to be using this one, and I have a couple glue sticks. So you are going to need something like this, a glue gun. I'm going to be using mine on a low heat or low temperature. I think that's what it's called anyway. You're going to need some clear type UV resin. I'm going to be using the Bond Crafter UV resin. So, and I'm also going to be using just a little bit of the UV resin for bonding, just a little bit of that. You're going to need a UV torch. I will also be using this little light for the bonding one. Some sandpaper. You don't have to sand. I'm in a habit of sanding my projects. A UV light. I'm going to be using this one, and I will be using the half side of this one. You don't need to. I just find that it goes faster. Let's see. For the inside for like the tentacles and that, I'm going to be using some organza ribbon. I'm going to be using this color, possibly this one. I will be using this one and the pink. Okay. You are going to need some silicone tools, a pair of scissors, and a ruler. Okay. For the beads, I'm going to be using, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to be using, I believe it's size 1. Yeah, size 1 crimp beads. And I will show you how to use these if you're not familiar with it. And I have a micro crimping tool, so I will be using that. I have assortment of beads here. I probably won't be using all of these, but I just picked out some that I thought would complement the ribbon. That's what I have. Well, that's empty one there. Okay. I have a large split ring, keychain split ring, and I have a 8mm split ring. And also a piece of parchment paper. I wouldn't go with the wax paper. I would go with the parchment paper because the wax may melt. Let me just set these here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have a piece of parchment paper here. The wax paper, when you're using UV resin, it gets really hot, and the wax on the wax paper will melt. So I would go with parchment paper. So I am going to get set up, and I will be back in a second. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the parchment paper, and I'm just going to drape it over the sides and tuck it under. Like so. And this is what we have. And I got my glue gun, and I have it set on the lowest setting, or low. I don't use this glue gun very often. So what I want to do is I want to make the body of the jellyfish. And I'm going to come down, I'm just going to free hand this. Let me turn the fan on because I want this to cool. I have a little fan up here. I just want this to cool down. I think I'm going to come about right there. And I'm just going to hold on. Let that cool down. And I'm going to just do the first initial line of hot glue. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let this cool down a little bit in my fan. Okay, now I'm going to go around again. I'm just going to define the bottom of this, what's going to be the jellyfish. I turn my fan up a little high. That's the shape that's I'm going with right now. I definitely want to get some in there. Get some in those creases a little bit. So here we go. think that'll be it. Just gonna let this cool down. This is what we have. Okay, I'm gonna let that cool down completely with my fan on. I'm gonna let it cool down for about 10 minutes. Okay, this is set up enough. I have one of my UV lights here, and I have the other one here. I have my torch, my UV resin, and my silicone tools. Got my gloves on, got my protective glasses on, and this definitely is a trust the process project. So I'm going to start with adding some UV resin along the top. And I'm going to slowly just start bringing it down, and we're going to build this, the body part of the jellyfish. A little bit of resin at a time. Might try and stuff that under a little bit better. Let me see. There we go. I don't know how much of this I am going to have time-lapsed or in regular mode. But this is what I'm going to do. And we're going to cure this multiple times. Okay, I am going to set this down to cure for 2 minutes, and I will be right back. Okay, that's been 2 minutes. Okay, I'm going to get the resin out. And I'm going to concentrate on this side. The best I can. And I'm going to be sticking it under the UV light for like, I don't know, 30 seconds at a time. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to go on this over here. And I'm just going to keep going around and adding UV resin just to the above the glue line, and then doing a quick like 30-second cure, and until I get a nice shell on there. And then once I do that, it's already dripping down some more, then I'll be back, or I'll time lapse it. I'll figure out how I'm going to do it. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just going around seeing if I have any exposed parchment paper. And I've been breaking off the little stringers that drip down, you know, like before they really get hard or whatever. But you can always use flush cutters to cut those off, because I don't want the resin to be dripping below the hot glue. So I think I have as much of the parchment paper covered. I don't think I have any exposed. But you want to do this with gloves on, obviously, because you don't want fingerprints, because this is not like fully cured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it under both lights, and I'm going to do it for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to rotate it and do it for another 5 minutes. And then I'll be back when this is cured. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a gloved finger and I'm just spreading the UV resin over the whole thing. Not a lot of resin. And I'm just trying to make sure that the surface is covered. I don't want it dripping. And that's what we have. Okay, and you see it's not dripping. I mean, it will eventually. It'll start to drip. We have to get this in the light. And I'm going to cure this, and I'm going to spin it as I cure it. 5 minutes. I'm going to turn this one on. And then after this 5 minutes, I'm going to rotate the jellyfish and 5 minutes on each side. So I'm going to do that. Okay, this is done. That's what it looks like. Let's put it over here in this camera. All right. We're going to, let me clean this off. I'm going to take this off. You want to wear gloves when doing this. And there's that little that. Now we're gonna pull this away. Okay, let me get this paper out. I hope it's not trapped in there. That would be terrible. No, we got it. This is what we have, and I can see right now that I have some spots that I missed, and that is okay. Anyway, I think we got that spot. I don't like how that looks. I'm just going to pop that off because I don't want any points. Like this, I want to cut this off. Get my scissors. Okay, this is cute. I like that. Just don't want no sharp bits in there. Okay. So let me clean up this. Now how I do this, I mean, you really don't have to, but what I want to do is I want to fill in, I see this spot here. I think that's about it, really. Definitely want to fill it in. So what I got, just have a piece of silicone from an old silicone mat that I had. And I'm going to stick that in there because you need something to back for the resin. Open up the resin first. This is where your torch comes in. I'm going to put my finger on there. I'm going to smooth it in there. And now I'm going to cure it with this. You definitely want to wear gloves when doing this. Okay, that's looking good. Let me cure this for a good minute in there, and then I will be back. Okay. We'll put a little bit more on there. Spread it out. And I'm going to let the whole thing cure for 5 minutes. Okay, this has cured up nice. Now I want to, before I start any sanding or anything like that, I want to really make sure that this is cured. So I have a mirror. I'm going to use this mirror, and I'm also going to use this bucket of water. Got this container of water. I'll set this mirror on it like so. And now I'm going to take this, I'm going to submerge it in the water. And what this does is it prevents the oxygen, from what I understand. It blocks the oxygen, so the UV light has a chance to really penetrate and really cure your resin piece. So I'm going to cure this for a full 5 minutes. And I'm going to turn this one on. And then as soon as the 5 minutes is up, I will be right back. Okay. I am letting this cool down in between cures. It's very important that you do that because resin gets very, very hot. So I have this. Let me get my dry it off a little bit because I'm going to go take this and I'm going to take, I have a 320 grit wet dry sandpaper, and I'm just going to do a light sand over the top of this, and I'm going to do it underwater, and then I will be back for the next step. This is what we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a I sanded it down just a little bit. I'm going to put a top coat on this, and I'm going to cure it for 5 minutes. And I'm going to just use the resin like this, and my gloved hand, and we're just going to smear it around everywhere. And this is going to gloss it up real nice. Set that down. Turn that on. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and I will be right back. Okay, that's what we have now. We're going to go on the inside. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to put some resin in. And I'm just going to, let me get this. And we're just going to spread this like so on the inside. Put some more in there. One good thing about Bond Crafter UV resin, it's a good UV resin, very good resin, UV resin. I like using it. That's my preferred UV resin, and it's the least expensive that I've found as far as quality. I mean, you can find cheaper UV resin out there, but I always say you get what you pay for. But when it comes to Bond Crafter UV resin, it is a nice, good quality resin for the money. So I'll have links for everything in the description box. We're almost done with this part of the jellyfish. This is the longest part, I think, but it really takes what am I trying to say? The patience. If you try to rush it, I don't think it will come out as good. You want to do it in layers and steps. The piece is loose because of the crease. You do want to do this in steps. You don't want to try and get it all done at once. You just have a big gloopy mess on your hand. So I don't know if you can see the shine that's starting to come through. So I'm just gonna keep spreading it around, make sure I get all the inside. And I'm gonna cure this again for five minutes, and then once I cure this like this under the lights, I'm going to stick it back in the water and do a 5-minute water cure. And I'll be back when I'm done with those 2 steps, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, what I have set out, I have my little beads set out, and I have a ruler here. I already have everything measured out, but I'm going to show you how I measure things out. I have 5 of these little, I don't know what you call them, fishing line, nylon lines cut. And I believe, it's hard to see it, but I will tell you what I have. I have this 12 inches. So I have about 15 inches of 5 of these cut. I got 5 of them cut, 15 inches, about that. And then I have these cut. I have 5 of these, but I have 2 of this cut. And what I have is if I fold it, it's just going to be folded in half. And it's approximately 12 inches, 11 inches, about 11 and a half inches folded in half. So because these were approximately 11 and a half inches folded in half, I want the beads to stop about 11 inches. So I want all the extra to tie. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I have some of my little clamps here, my little clips, a couple of these, and I have my little micro crimp things. What I did do off camera was I did drill a hole. I put tape on there so that when the drill bit hits onto this, it doesn't skip and scratch the surface. So I remove the tape and we have a nice little hole. I'm having a new stove installed today. Hopefully I can get a lot of this recording done before they get here. So what I'm going to do, I do need my ruler out. I don't know why I put it away. I am going to place this at 12 inches. And I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to place that about there. And that's going to tell me how much room I have. And now we're just going to start doing the beads. I'm going to do a couple on camera to show you how I do it. Not saying how I do it is the right way, it's just how I do it. So I want to start up at the top. So I'm going to grab I can move this out of the way for now. I'm going to grab a crimp bead, and like I said, these are like size 1 crimp beads, so I'm going to try and get one on. Okay, now that I have the crimp bead on the wire, I'm going to take it all the way up to the top. Make sure I'm in frame. I'm going to grab it with my little crimping pliers. I'm going to get a hold of that little thing. First one always is hardest to get started. I'm going to go about right there, and I'm just going to get that little crimp thing in the channel, and I'm going to pinch down on it. And I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to put this in the front of the crimp pliers, and I'm going to squish it again. Then we'll give it a little tug, make sure that it's not going to fall off. You're going to want to place your bead, like let's start with some pink ones. I want to do, let's go with the darker pink, like that, and a lighter pink. And I'm using glass because I want the weight of the glass beads. I'm going to finish it with a pink little seed bead, like so. I'll probably bring you guys in. The only problem with zooming in is I tend to go off frame. So I'll stick it about right there. So now I'm going to grab a crimp bead from here. Let's try to anyway. It's hard to see sometimes. Sometimes I just hold it down. There you go. Oh. Get on, get on. Okay. Like that. I'm going to let gravity help me out with this. I'm just going to smash it that way. You could leave it with that one little squish, but I'm trying to learn how to do this the proper way and fold it back on itself. And that is the first bead. Okay, I'll do one more. Okay, we need another crimp tube. We'll put that on there like so. And now I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I'm going to get it in the little, hope I'm in frame. Gonna get it in there and I'm gonna squish. Okay, now I'm gonna get it in the front and squish. I always like to give a little test to make sure they don't fall off. That's what it looks like. Okay, now let's go with the clear. Because these are, I don't know if that'll slide over the crimp bead. Let me see. It might. No, that does good. Okay, let's put another crimp bead in. And this is a take some time to do. I'll find one that actually fits on there. This takes some time to do, so I like to either put on a podcast or some music and just go work at it until I get them all done. So that's the second one. Oh, okay, that came down off there. I figured that would. So what I'm going to do, because the bead is too big and I don't want to start over, I'm going to get a little bit of this bonding resin out. This is where I use this. Get my light. Figured that was so big. I don't know if I'm in frame still. I'm just going to put a little bit on there. Normally what I would do is use a seed bead or use a bigger crimp bead. I'm just going to go like that with that. The stuff sets in like 10 seconds. Normally what I would use for these by themselves, if I don't use a seed bead, I would use a size 2 crimp bead. And that's that. So now we got those. So I'm going to continue on, and then when I get down to the last one on this strand, I'll show you what I do and go from there. So I will be back in a minute. Okay, this is what I have. I have some space left over, but I don't want to go all the way to the bottom. I also want to mention, if you're going to use the size 2 or up, you're going to want to get some regular size crimp pliers. So I'm going to get a size 1 crimp bead on there. I'm going to take it up about that far. Hope I'm in frame. I'm going to smush it and turn it and fold it on itself. You also want to make sure you get some quality crimp tubes, because you get the cheap ones and they will fall apart as you smush. So I'm going to get one of these little, I don't know what they're called. I call them mermaid beads, moon beads. Another little crimp tube on there. I use gravity as my friend. I'm going to squish, turn, and put it in the next channel and squish. Hopefully I didn't break it. Did I smush it right? Yes, I did. Make sure it's not coming off. And let's see how long we got. So I want this to end up at about, let's see, I can put one more on there. Let's do one more. So let's go with the size 2 because I want to put a heavier bead on. So I'm going to get a size 2 crimp bead. We're going to bring it up because you want the weight at the bottom. Not in frame. Smash. It leaves that little channel in there. I don't know if you can see it. Then you rotate it and you smush it again. That one didn't stay. That one didn't work. I didn't smush it hard enough. Let's try that again. Smush. And smush. Did I get it? Yep. Okay, I'm going to get this big one. I'm going to put that on there. Another size 2 crimp tube. Now we're getting to the bottom of it. Got to be careful, you don't want to crack your bead. So, squish. And squish. I hope that stays. I hope that's big enough. It don't fall off. That might fall off. These are bigger holes. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of this on there. It's not falling off. I just don't want it to. Like that. My light. Okay. I'm going to get my scissors. I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to bring you guys out. And this is what we have. Looks really nice. You see I didn't space them too close together. You got the one on the end, the bigger bead, the heavier glass bead on the end. It weighs it down so that it hangs. So I have 4 more to do. And I will be back when I get the 4 done. And we will move on to the next step. There's one. It looks really cute. I'm going to do the next 4 and I will be back when I'm done. Okay, what I have is the 5 strands, and what I want to do with this is I have 5 pieces of this string here. I think it's like 9 inches. Yeah, about 9 inches. To make it easy, I'm just going to take a clip and I'm going to clip on each side of this wire, the cording. I don't know if you can see it better here or here. Anyway, and I'm going to take one of these. I'll do one on camera. This is I have the large bead. This is just a plastic bead on the end, so it's not too heavy. And I'm going to take the part that's a little extra long, and I am going to tie this around. It's kind of hard. It's fiddly. This is probably the fiddliest part of the whole thing. It's just hard to see this stuff. So I'm going to tie this around like so. I want to get that bead up as close as I can. Okay, I'm going to tie another knot, and it will not, it will fall off the edges. Like it's not going to be like super tight on here. Show you what I mean. It moves. See how it moves? So I'm going to try and get it in the center, and again I'm going to get this out with the light, and I'm just going to secure the best I can this little knot. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the center. I'm just going to put a little drop of that on the knot, And then I'm going to set it with this light for about 10 seconds. And now I have this piece of wire here, this one here, that was attached to this string with the beads. And I'm going to cut that. I'm not going to cut it all the way to the edge. I just don't want that long wire, a long piece, about that much. God, it's so hard to see on there. It's a couple inches. Okay, so we have that, like so. It's hanging down. All right, now what I'm going to do is I am going to grab, doesn't matter which one of these. I'm going to fold it in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I'm going to place that over the wire with the beads. Take this off. Like I said, this is by far the fiddliest part of the whole project. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to tie, where did I put that string? Yeah. Tie it around best I can. Make sure it's somewhat in the center. Tie it. And you'll have something that looks like this. This was the longest one I had. Longest white one I had there. Okay. And to secure that, again, I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to put it on the knot, just on the knot. Just a tiny, tiny bit. I'll set it with the light. And I have these, now I have these two strings. Okay. I'm just going to clip them together just to hold it in place for right now. And that is what I'm going to do with all of these and all of these. And then when I get back with this, when I get done with these, I will be back with the next step. Okay, now that we have all these tied, I got two more pieces of, or three more pieces actually, but this one is about 2 feet long. We're going to keep that one to the back. So we're going to start gathering them up by the strings. You should have 2 strings for each one. Okay, so I'm going to layer, I have 2 of these kind cut, so I'm going to layer them on the ends. Doesn't really matter. You're not going to be able to tell. And I got these 2 wires. I'm just going to start stacking them. And these 2. These 2. And hold them all tight together. And then we finally got this one. I want them kind of level with each other. Okay, now I'm going to take this, got all the wires, or the cords, twist. I'm going to clamp, we'll try and clamp it. Try to get all of them somewhat clamped together. Like I said, this is fiddly, but we can get it done. I'm going to take a piece of this one. Again, it's not that long, about 9 inches. You don't need that much. I might even have too much here, but I know when you start messing with real short wires and stuff like that, it can get really fiddly. So I'm going to tie it as tight as I can, as close down to the fabric as I can. I'm going to knot it. Okay. I'll knot it one more time just for good measure. Again, I'm going to use a little bit of this, get my light, just to secure those knots, that knot. You don't need a lot of this. I'm going to use my light. Cure it for about 15 seconds. I'm going to keep these two cords separated. And I'm going to cut these ones just above the mat. We don't need all that, it's just going to get in the way. Get these out of here. Okay, so now we have these two. Okay, this is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? Now I have the one that's the longer piece. It's the two feet. Almost done. I want to get them together. I don't want to knot in that. That's one thing about working with the longer cord. You can knot it up easy. I don't want to knot this up yet. But I do want the center. You can make this as long or as short as you want. Okay. Now I'm going to take the small split ring and I'm going to feed that through. Now this you got to be careful. You don't want to split that split ring over the top. I'm going to pull these through and hopefully I didn't, so I just did what I didn't want to do. Because the split ring is really small. Did I just do it again? I think I just did it again. It keeps going back and forth. Okay, we'll get it in there. All right, this is the fiddly part. There. I have that on there like that, right? Now what I want to do is I want to feed these two, into the hole I drilled. But what I want to do is I want to take a little tiny bit of painter's tape and wrap those two ends together. Don't want it too thick because I want it to go through the hole. Hope this is making sense. Now I'm going to try and feed it up through the hole. All right, got it through. Got both of them through. I have my little split ring here. Now I've got it balanced on there. Now I'm going to just clip that. Let's do this one. Clip that on so I don't inadvertently pull it back through. I got my split ring here. And I have my cords, my two cords. I want to even them up to make them the same length. Just make easier tying. Okay, we don't need the two. I'm just going to cut one of these off. We only need the one piece. I got my split ring coming through. And I want to pull it out all the way as far up as I can. And I want to tie this into a knot as close up to that split ring as I can get it. Like so. I'll do another one. I want to get that up on there. Like so. Again, I'm going to use this on the knot. Oh, I'm going to blind myself. Yeah. I'm going to cut this off. Just that extra string. And now we're going to pull it through. And I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to put it over the hole. And cure it. This is what we're having. I'm going to get my other camera set up real quick. So this is what we have. Isn't that good? Pretty? I'll have good pictures of it. Just think it's beautiful. So hopefully you guys can see. It's just so big. So we're gonna get this split ring, and we have those taped together, which is good. Now we're just going to slip it through. I say it like it's supposed to be easy. Okay, slip it through and tie a knot into this split ring. We'll tie it again. And again, I am going to use some of this on the knot. I'm going to cure that. And that is that one. I have this one here. This is the first one that I made. Let me move this out of the way. This is the first one. I see I only have one string. No, I have two. That's the first one. But this I like because it's fuller. The bottom is fuller. And I put more beads on this one. That is so pretty. I'll have video. I hope you like this. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And to my subscribers, I truly appreciate you. Could not do this without you. Y'all have a great day and God bless. Bye.